Of some others, like Armenia, Islam, Russia, the Balkans, I'm sort of reasonably in command of things. Oh, and Iran. Oh, yes, Iran.
But throughout your career, James, you seem to have cultivated a number of interests in fields outside of the history of the Eastern Roman Byzantine Empire, such as an interest in, as you mentioned, the history of warfare, the Eurasian steppe people, the Sassanid Empire, pre-Islamic Arabia, and the advent of Islam. So my question is this: what drives you to continue to pursue research in your field as well as in others, trying to tie them together and producing innovative ways of viewing the subjects you write about?
Well, there are two drivers of that. First, in fact, it makes history much more interesting if you look outwards. You may have got to focus on a particular field, but you've got to look out at the wider context. No, there are three drivers. The second is, of course, it's a very good way of sustaining interest when you shift from one thing to another to another. Now, there's a danger that you become your knowledge becomes rather thin if you do that. But if you do it regularly, slowly it builds up. But the third and most important driver was teaching at Oxford. You see, at Oxford, the basic form of teaching is not the lectures that are given, and they're given, but it's the individual tuition in tutorials of one or two pupils at a time. And what the tutor does is gives out a topic, gives out a reading list, may give a short remark or two about the subject, and waits for a week for the pupil to have written an essay, and then they discuss it. Now, tutors can't just concentrate on areas that they really know about. So they teach a much wider field, and then they get feedback from the pupils, and then they get excited, and they start doing it. So I would say it's the Oxford tutorial system, which is the prime driver of that, which may have meant that I have spread myself more widely than most of my contemporary Byzantinist colleagues.
You know, sometimes I feel the same way. I have a wide variety of things I'm interested in, and I feel like because of that, I'll never be a master of one. I'll just be a jack of all trades, or what's the saying? Jack of all trades, master of none.
I'm
But
afraid
as I get older, I feel like I kind of like the jack of all trades, master of none moniker rather than just being pigeonholed in one particular area of interest.
yes. And of course, in time, you become master of quite a lot of them. Not all, but of quite a lot of them. So I can't say that I'm a master of Central Asian Turkish history. And even I've ventured into Chinese history, and I've got sort of pockets of knowledge. But of some others, like Armenia, Islam, Russia, the Balkans, I'm sort of reasonably in command of things. Oh, and Iran. Oh, yes, Iran. Yeah, love Iran. Oh, I love Iran.
Definitely,
Now,
definitely.
Iran in the past.
Yeah, and I really, I mean, in your book, you have a lot of pictures that it looks like you took yourself while visiting Iran. And, I would have never expect, I mean, I've never been there. And then a lot of what we hear about the Middle East coming from the media doesn't really capture the landscape or the cultures that you would see if you go on and visit those places. So, looking through your photos of places in Iran, especially the big blank screen that Coast
Yeah.
Road to,
Yes.
that
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 was almost the first place the first time I went was in 1998 with a party from Oxford. And we arrived sort of in the middle of the night and had a very short sleep, and then went by bus to the far west of Iran, to Takhti Suleiman, well, to near Takhti Suleiman. So the first site we saw was Takhti Suleiman, and then we came down to Bisutun, and there I saw is that while the others climbed up to see the Darius monument, I was just gazing at this extraordinary screen.
and it wasn't finished, right? It was they started it. They kind of started the etching
Yes,
of
indeed.
the figures.
Yeah. No, they didn't even get as far as that. They hadn't quite smoothed out the screen. Basically, they just created the space upon which to
Hmm.
put some unknown triumphant design about the victories of Khusro II and the destruction of the Roman Empire, none of which came about.
No.
It's slightly like, I'm sorry to go on about this, but in Mashhad, in the museum at Mashhad, there is a huge carpet which was being woven for the Kaiser in the First World War. And it's headed by the heading is Der Sieger, the victor, with then a list of battles. But it was never sent because the war went wrong in 1918.
Well, that's something that I think a lot of people can learn from, that, don't count your eggs before they hatch.
Yes, yes, indeed.
All right, and moving on to your book,